For most people, visiting royal palaces and their grand estates is a dream come true. The scene feels like something out of a storybook: massive gates leading to sprawling lawns, ornate stables housing majestic horses, and the intoxicating aura of history in every corner. There's something awe-inspiring about royal horses. They're symbols of dignity and tradition, and their timeless elegance draws visitors from around the world. But with such beauty and grace comes a very clear caveat: strict rules demand that you keep your distance. Unfortunately, there are always a few who believe rules simply don't apply to them. A few who think their curiosity, selfies, or audacity are worth the risk. People forget that these horses demand respect, and when that respect isn't given, well, consequences are absolutely inevitable. These are the stories of tourists whose fascination turned into painful, hilarious, and downright unforgettable life lessons, all taught by the royal horses themselves. Before we get into the chaotic encounters, it's essential to understand the stage. Royal horses live nothing short of a life fit for kings. Every aspect of their existence, from daily grooming to their gourmet diets, is meticulously handled by expert caretakers. Their coats glisten like polished wood. Their manes are a study in flowing perfection. These animals are athletes and aristocrats combined, trained to perform in parades, pull grand royal carriages, and serve as icons of royal heritage. Despite their refinement, these horses retain an imposing presence. We're talking about creatures that weigh upwards of 1,000 pounds, exhibit lightning reflexes, and possess a bite force that can snap a carrot in half like a twig. The caretakers, diligent as they are, warn visitors through clear signage, guidebooks, and strict rules. Do not disturb the royal horses, do not feed them, do not cross the designated line. Simple enough, right? You'd think so. That said, these warnings seem to ignite a mysterious sense of rebellion in some tourists. Something about the untamed power of these royal horses makes a small but foolish percentage of the crowd throw caution to the wind. And it's these moments of poor judgment, my friends, that lead to the tales that become legends. It was a warm summer afternoon at one of Europe's most famous royal stables. The sun was high, the air buzzing with conversations in a mix of languages, and the horses were lazily sauntering about in their enclosure. It was here that we met our first subject, a young woman, draped in the latest streetwear fashion, whose phone was practically glued to her hand. She wasn't like other tourists who admired the horses respectfully, cooing softly at the animal's graceful movements. No, the selfie queen wanted her moment. "Hey guys, check it out," she announced loudly to no one in particular, hoisting her phone high and shifting into a candid pose. Her eyes drifted toward a striking chestnut stallion pacing in the sunshine a few feet behind the rope line. "Oh my God, that horse is, like, so Instagrammable." Without pause, she ducked under the rope meant to prevent such foolishness, completely ignoring the panicked stammers of nearby bystanders. She angled her phone toward the horse, leaning in closer with every step. The stallion's ears twitched, signaling its discomfort, but the young woman was too focused on perfecting her lighting. "You'll be my profile photo for sure," she cooed, and then it happened. With a speed that seemed impossible for a creature that size, the horse turned its head, opened its massive mouth, and snapped its teeth down near her outstretched hand. The sound echoed loud enough to send a shiver down every spine in the vicinity. While the horse didn't break skin, thankfully, it certainly got its message across. The woman shrieked, fumbling her phone, which landed rather unceremoniously in a nearby puddle. Drenched, humiliated, and with a throbbing hand, she stumbled back behind the ropes, likely vowing to stick to tamer Instagram subjects in the future. Next, we have a family man who earned the moniker overconfident dad from the crowd. He was the quintessential dad on vacation: sun hat tilted rakishly, Hawaiian shirt buttoned a bit too snugly, and a booming voice that seemed to summon groans from his embarrassed teenage children. The family had spent the better part of the afternoon meandering through the palace grounds before stopping at the horse paddock. While the rest of the family admired the horses from a comfortable distance, Dad decided he wanted to show off his so-called animal whispering skills. "These horses aren't dangerous," he scoffed at his wife, who was frantically reading the "Do not feed the horses" sign. "You've just got to know how to handle them. Watch this." Clutching half an apple he'd grabbed from a vendor earlier, he marched straight toward the enclosure. his teenage son pleaded, "Dad, don't." But overconfident Dad was already hailing one of the royal mares. Clicking his tongue and waving the fruit like an offering, the mare took notice. Intrigued, she trotted delicately toward him, her muscles rippling under her sleek coat. For a moment, it looked like Dad's bravado might win the day. "See? Piece of cake," he grinned smugly, stretching his arm over the barrier to feed her the apple. But instead of delicately taking the fruit from his hand, the horse chomped down with such force that Dad yelped in panic, yanking back his fingers minus any major injuries, but definitely some pride. The horse dropped the apple, unimpressed, and wandered off. The crowd roared with laughter, and Dad was left sheepishly muttering something about it being time for lunch. On another occasion, 3 tourists and a group of mischievous friends decided they weren't content with snapping photos from a distance. No, they wanted to create the ultimate travel vlog. The plan? Each of them would take turns recreating a Cheez-Its Wild West scene by hopping the fence one at a time and pretending to wrangle a royal horse. The first friend, the self-proclaimed leader of the group, galloped into the paddock in dramatic slow motion, complete with exaggerated cowboy whoops. The horses momentarily paused their grazing, lifting their heads in mild confusion. Unfortunately for the would-be cowboy, his theatrics caught the eye of one particular horse, a sturdy gray gelding who had no patience for shenanigans. With little warning, the horse galloped toward him with a sudden burst of speed, sending the trespasser bolting unceremoniously back to the fence. Here's the kicker. While scrambling to escape, he tripped, accidentally pulling down part of the security rope, giving his 2 friends access they hadn't asked for. What followed next was complete pandemonium. All 3 friends, screaming and flailing, ran from a stampede of one very annoyed horse. Security arrived just in time to restore order and escort the flushed, humiliated trio from the grounds, probably never to return. For every tale of audacious tourists and their ill-fated interactions, there's a reminder of why these rules exist. Royal horses are creatures of immense power and intelligence. They may stand with poise and grace, but that doesn't mean they're open to foolish behaviors. They demand respect, not antics, and anyone who forgets that will likely leave with more than just souvenirs. Visiting the royal estates and their majestic horses should be an awe-inspiring experience, not a painful one. For the tourists who respect the boundaries, the memories they take home are priceless. For those who choose to cross the line, the scars are, well, both literal and metaphorical. Whether you're holding a camera, a snack, or just a wild sense of curiosity, remember it's best to admire these incredible creatures from a safe and respectful distance. Because when it comes to the royal horses, the line isn't just a suggestion. It's a lifeline. All right, everyone, that was a wild ride literally. From selfie fails to snack attacks, these tourists really gave us something to laugh about. If you enjoyed this adventure and want to see more jaw-dropping stories or learn fascinating facts about history, animals, and everything in between, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.